that is the joy from the Flying Eagles of Nigeria. Of course, they beat Senegal to advance to the under-20 AFCON when it comes to the under-20 African Cup of Nations right there in the semi-finals, and definitely they'll be facing Morocco. Senegal, the defending champions of the under-20. It was a hard-fought in that particular encounter. It ended in the stalemate in the goalless encounter, but 3-1 in the penalty shootout, right? Of course, good coming in from the Flying Eagles of Nigeria. Welcome to Your Sports Central, where we're giving you the best of sporting stories from the local scene. And of course, talking about the event going down right here in Abeokuta 2 days ago to the Sport Festival, the 22nd National Sports Festival, tag the Gateway Games right here in Ogun State. Definitely we'll talk about that this. My name is Stephen Ajayi, and I'm not alone in the studio. Definitely, I'm here with Abiodun Ogundipe. Good day, Abiodun Ogundipe.
Good day to you, Stephen, and to all our viewers at home.
It's quite, will I say, a week or 2 weeks you've been here.
Yes.
And definitely you are here. And of course, we'll have a lot to talk about when it comes to sports. Let's talk about the Flying Eagles of Nigeria qualifying for the World Cup and definitely going to the semi-finals.
Well, I think the Flying Eagles of Nigeria have tried their best up to this moment. The group stage, it wasn't that they were not dominating as we used to see Nigerian teams in the under-8 competition, but then they have not been that bad. They had a draw, they had a win and 2 draws in the group stages to qualify for the quarterfinal. And against Senegal, the defending champion, it wasn't a tough. It was a tough one. It wasn't easy. They played as a 1-1 draw and went to penalties. And I think so far they have given a fair impression of themselves. So that experience is something that we can count on. And of course, Nigeria, when it comes to age grade competitions, we want to win. We have that record of winning. Even when the team is not that very good, they find a formula of getting the results.
But we could see even in the group stage, we had 1 win, 2 draws, and not doing actually very well. Now against Senegal, we actually draw that match and penalties.
So Nigeria Flying Eagles need to dig deep, convert their chances, ensure that they don't concede goals to qualify for the final. Already in the kitty is World Cup ticket, so we're happy with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that one is safe, so we don't need to worry about going to the World Cup. That one is sealed. Now get to the final or perhaps winning the competition is our next aim, so they need to work hard and concentrate on that so we can get the possible results we are looking for.
Definitely to get the possible result, and of course optimistic when it comes to the under-20 AFCON and that. Let's move on straight to the National Sports Festival, the 22nd National Sports Festival. Last time it was hosted in Ogun State. It was 2006. Yes, definitely. And it's tag the Gateway Games. And of course, a lot of headlines are going through the social media, to the papers, and definitely saying National Sports Festival, a touch of unity heads to Ogun State. So let's talk about the preparation. But before then, let's go on to check out so far the upgraded from the stadium right there in MK Abiola and other facilities when it comes to National Sports Festival. When it comes to the National Sports Festival, definitely it's an upgrade from the MK Abiola Stadium rather. But before then, we are talking about the under. To come back to the National Sports Festival, we're talking about the under 20. I actually, made that mistake. It's against South Africa. I don't know, maybe because Morocco is one of the outstanding teams, but I, try to switch things. I'm sorry, but we're talking about the Flying Eagles versus South Africa, not Morocco.
Cool.
So that's just to put correction on that, not Morocco. The Flying Eagles will take on South Africa in the semi-final of the Under-20 African Cup of Nations, and that is what we will be expressing right there when it comes to that African Cup of Nations. Now, let us go on straight to, like we said, National Sports Festival. We saw the video of the upgrade from the MKO Abela. We saw the swimming pool. We saw a lot of things. Now, let me just ask this question to you. How prepared is Ogun State?
Well, from the videos and of course even beyond the videos, if you've been to the stadium, the MK Abela Stadium in Kuto, the Alake Sports Center in Jeja, and then to the Remo Star Stadium in Kenya, where there are some facilities are also there where they're going to use. Ogun State is ready 100% to host the National Sports Festival. The festival should have come up last year, but because of some delays, the sporting structure in the country, they had a meeting, so let's postpone it to December 2024. Even December, it wasn't visible because some of the logistics they needed, it's not ready. Then most of the states have not yet completed their qualification trials for players to qualify to come for the National Sports Festival. So all those ones caused delay, and of course after that, they quickly, all states got their acts together, did their qualification, and then got the athletes that qualified for the competition. And now the competition is ready. Ogun State has had ample time to really prepare. And if you get to the MK Abela Stadium in Kuto, you'll be amazed because that's a stadium we all know that what's available there is just the football pitch. And now beyond that, because of the festival, we have tennis courts, we have a swimming pool and other facilities. Even the facilities have been there. The football pitch has been relayed, the tank tracks have been relayed, a lot of changes, new innovations. We now have a new scoreboard, the floodlights, new floodlights have been installed. Even
from the data I'm hearing, NFF talked about our stadium. I think they said it will be hosting the under 17, right?
They'll be hosting a friendly, a friendly day.
Okay.
Right at the MK Abela Stadium and also at the Remo Stadium in Stadium in Kenya. So because those facilities are there, even a track and field event, a track event is coming to Ogun State because they have seen this facility. They see that Ogun State is ready. Beyond the National Sports Festival, a lot of other things are also coming to Ogun State because the facilities are top grade. They are top notch. They are ready for the National Sports Festival. The inspectors have been around. They've seen it. They say, oh, yes, Ogun State is ready. Even at the Alake Sports Center, you see the basketball courts, the handball courts, the indoor sports hall where they play table tennis and other indoor sports. Everything has been refurbished, totally brand new, and then it's beautiful. So yes, Ogun State is now a sporting state that can host a whole lot of sports beyond football, athletics, and the common sports. Basketball courts and ball courts. Indoor where we play table tennis and a lot of other games. Everything is in place. So Ogun State is ready. The facilities are there. Many people have been around to inspect. Many organizations have been around to inspect and see how ready is Ogun State, and they have all commended Ogun State that Ogun State is ready like yesterday. That even if it's yesterday, they want to start it. Everything is on ground for Ogun State to roll out and host the whole of Nigeria. So athletes, coaches, sports fans that are coming, they have nothing to worry about in terms of facilities. Everything is ready for Ogun State to host the whole country. So it's the next 2 weeks is going to be more like a carnival-like, atmosphere in Ogun State because different cultures, different people, all the athletes coming to showcase their skills, and of course a lot of other side attractions will also be happening, and of course so it's going to be a whole lot of fun in Ogun State for the next 2 weeks.
For the next 2 weeks, of course, kicking up right on the 16th of May, and definitely everyone is actually anticipating on that particular encounter. Not just, we will also know that it's not only happening at Abeokuta.
Yes, we have facilities at Kenya, at the Remo Star Stadium in Kenya, Shagamu and Ijebu-Ode. Even here in Abeokuta, apart from the MK Abela Stadium and the Georgia, there are some facilities at Baptist Boys High School in Shade. They are going to use it. Also, the golf will take place at the Abeokuta Golf Club in Okemoson. So, apart beyond the stadium and Alake Sports Centers, we have other centers they are going to use, and of course, all the facilities there are ready. And of course, they have been approved and given pass mark that Ogun State is ready right now to host the National Sports Festival.
Hopefully, that will be a very big success for Ogun State. Right, with these facilities, definitely to improve, like what you said, to improve the sports facilities. But let's move on because of our time. We have a lot to talk about this afternoon, and let's move on straight to the foreign scene, and let's go straight to La Liga. I don't forget that Arsenal is leaving Real Madrid to, of course, Brazil. Of course, speculation are talking about Samuel also to replace Ancelotti. But let's talk about so far Ancelotti. Do you think would you call him he's been successful at Real Madrid, or
he's successful? No doubt about it. Yeah, this is not his first time in Real Madrid, and he has even been to other clubs. He's been to AC Milan, I think, in Italy. He has been to Real Madrid before, and he's a serial winner. He has won trophies, the Champions League, the league in the clubs. You know, like
I think he has actually won everything for Real Madrid.
For Real Madrid, yeah, he was there. It was at last season. The news was there that at the end of last season he's going to take up the job in Brazil, and he didn't leave. He stayed again one season in Real Madrid, and for me, he has done very well. Even that Real Madrid did not win anything this season, all their classical matches, the 4 matches that were played, they lost to Barcelona. And for me, the team is going through a transition. A lot of top players have left. Yeah. You know, they had a lot of injury. The last Clasico they played against Barcelona, for me, all their backline are injured, and they had to bring in, makeshift defenders.
They actually had midfielders as defenders.
All this season, Bevade was playing right back. Last season, he was playing wing, attacking from the right wing. But this season, all season, he has been playing right back. Mendy was absent. Rudiger was absent. Militao was absent. So their top. Alaba was absent, also injured. Exactly. Alaba just came back from injury this year, and he didn't really play many matches. He has still he has not been able to overcome his injury totally. So all these things affected the team. If you even look at the midfield, they are missing links there. Toni Kroos left last season. Their captain, the Croatian, Luka Modric is aging. He has aged. It doesn't mean he has aged for me.
He's 39 or so.
He's 39. So the energy is not there. The skills is still there, but then you don't have the energy to play 90 minutes to run with those young guys, And they are trying to bring Tchouaméni and Camavinga, to hold that midfield down. These are still young guys that are still developing. They don't have the experience, of the kind of Luka Modric and then Toni Kroos and other big players. So yes, Jude Bellingham did very well, attacking midfield, supporting the likes of Mbappe, Vinicius Junior, and of course Rodrigo. So but the attack is, for me, is the thing that is there for Real Madrid this season. They are scoring a lot of goals. The defense has not been together. They didn't have a full-fledged defense. The midfield, for me, was almost not existed throughout the season. So it didn't really give them opportunity to win in any silverware. They lost in the quarterfinal of the Champions League with Arsenal. At the point they were leading the La Liga during the early part of the season, but then later Atletico came to sit on top. Now Barcelona came and they have held down that spot, and then Real Madrid is still playing second fiddle to them. Kudos to the coach and the players, because that's not a full-fledged team for me. There are a lot of missing links, players that need to carry the team that are missing. So he has tried his best, and is going for another, experience as the coach of Brazil, another tough job, one of the toughest jobs in world football, because Brazil believe they produce the best players in the world, and they should be winning every competition they go to. And of course, they too are going through a transition phase. They need a coach with world-class experience that will take them to get the best out of other top European teams. So farewell to him. He has done well for me in Real Madrid, despite the fact that he didn't win any trophy this season, because a lot of key players are missing that team. So I think he's going to make a success of the job in Brazil, because Brazil is full of talents. So he's just going to get the talents, introduce the style of play, let them understand it, and then it takes time, they start getting the results. And of course, Brazil is going to be one of the top teams in the world to contend with.
All right, a top team to contend. Of course, as a lot of says that Neymar, he needs Neymar right there at Brazil. I wonder but he's the manager, he knows what he wants to make use of in Neymar. But definitely, before we move on straight to our papers, let's go on for this short break. We'll be back. Welcome back to U Sport Central right there. And of course, still U Sport, we're talking about a lot of sporting stories. And just to revert back to the under 20 African Cup of Nations, and we talked about the semi final. At that particular encounter, and the Flying Eagles will take on South Africa in the semi-final of that particular encounter. What do you want to say about that? So talking about Flying Eagles for South Africa.
It's another rivalry between Nigeria and South Africa again. South Africa has been one of the teams when it comes to football that has been rivaling Nigeria in the last couple of years. You know, when they came back from apartheid in the early 90s, you know, their football was nowhere. They came in, made a bit of impression, but then they weren't. But then after years, you can see the investments in their football and sports generally. They have a vibrant league with a lot of sponsors, and most of their players don't go out of their country to play. They play in their local league. So that gives them the opportunity to blend, to understand, you know, and be a unit and go out and face other top teams in the continent. So that is reflecting in their female team, in their underage grade team. South Africa is not a known team for underage competition, but now they have gotten their act together and they are pushing their weight. And of course, they had a very good run so far in this competition for them to be in the semi-final. So it will be a tough one for the Flying Eagles. They've had South Africa had good results coming to the semi-final, and of course, they too have a ticket going to the World Cup like Nigeria. So, but then what they were playing for in that match is pride, because that rivalry between Nigeria and South Africa is there, that who is the better team. At the last AFCON, we defeated them in the semi-final. So, and I'm sure they will be looking for opportunity to get their own pound of flesh, get their own pound of flesh in this match. But then, no team is infallible. They are beatable if our team gets their act together. If they can score goals and fighting their defense, don't allow goals to leak in. I think they can do it. But then, my worry is that we are not at our best this time around. You know, we used to dominate all these teams. You know, win the African title. We have won it 7 times in the past. Even at the world stage, we dominate. You know, give a very good fight, give a very good account of ourselves. But it's not been so in the last couple of years with Nigerian football. Our pride has been the Super Eagles, where everybody is concentrating on getting players. But then the underage competitions, we need to revive them and make sure that the Flying Eagles write their name in gold in this competition, so that they can go to the World Cup under 20 and be better prepared. So we need to dig deep and do a lot against South Africa, because South Africa, they are no easy team to push over. They have a strong and vibrant league, where they get players from that can test their mettle against any top team on the continent.
All right, thank you so much, Abiodun. That's the semi-final between the Flying Eagles and, of course, South Africa. Let's go on straight to the papers, and of course, speaking the more story when it comes to sporting life. And from the headline we have on papers this morning, says Grealish is set for showdown talks with Pep Guardiola. And when it comes to Grealish, it's an expectation that Aston Villa definitely not get into. Probability could be it could only be sold in the summer.
Yeah, it could actually be sold, but then I think Pep Guardiola will not want to do that. You know him when he has a particular player playing a wing, a role. We have a backup, and that is what has been affecting Grealish. Grealish has been there on the right flank of the team, playing there, but then they bought this black guy with dread.
Okay, Donku.
Yes, they brought him, and of course he's been playing very well. And not allowing Grealish to have enough time on the field. So the coach will never want a backup unless he's selling Grealish and bringing another person to serve as backup to Doku. So the coming of Doku into the team has not really allowed Grealish, who was bought for £100 million, from Aston Villa, to really fulfill his dream. And it's not liking it that he's sitting down when you're on the bench. The opportunity for you to get to the national team is limited, and that's what many players are hungry for. So he'll be talking to the coach, talking with the club that am I on a priority list? If I have not, please let me go somewhere. So let's see how it pans out after his discussion with the club.
All right, from another story, Arsenal, PSG is lining up for a swap deal for Santos. And of course, also from the page, Frimpong says yes to Liverpool transfer, due to the fact that Arnold is going rather to Real Madrid. And that, of course, Arsenal ahead of Manchester United in race of Victor, rather than things, rather in the world of transfer. Of course, Olmo wanted at Manchester City. Telemans emerged as a £50 million target from Hilal. And from Manchester United, Amorim says that he has paid for all staff to attend the Europa final when it comes to that. Let's talk about the Europa final between Manchester United and Tottenham. It seems that the confidence is more for Manchester United. Do you see Manchester United escaping through the Europa League?
It's possible, but it's possible because if you look at their run so far to the final of the Europa League, they have been fantastic, and that's the opposite of what is happening to them in the Premier League. Same for the opponents in the final, Tottenham Hotspur, who have had a very good run in the Europa League, but then they've had a very poor run in the Premier League. I think United is 16 or something on the table, while Tottenham is maybe 17 or something. Both of them have had very poor performance in the Premier League, but then, and this is the only opportunity for both coaches,
yes,
and Postecoglou and then Amorim,
to save themselves,
to say yes, I should continue in this job,
exactly.
Because if the league performance is bad and they win the Europa League, that's an opportunity for them to play in the Champions League next season, and so it's a tough one for both teams. Both teams have done well in the Europa League, and the final is just between two English teams that are not doing well in their league. So it's difficult to say this is the team that's going to get the better of the other. But then I think the odds is still in favor of Manchester United. If you look at how their games in the,
and of course they actually faced the more difficult teams
than Tottenham Hotspur. So it might just come in, and if you look at Amorim's style of play, I think it's much better. He has the advantage over Ange Postecoglou, who is playing an eye line, playing eye line, which is still they get caught at the back, and and there are some gaps in that team that he needs to fix. And of course, the players in Manchester United, they are more experienced, more matured than most of the players they have in Tottenham. But then that is just a final. It's anybody's game. It's the best team on that night that will win it. So, but then as it is, it looks that United has the advantage. Look at the quality of players they have, even the experience of their coach and how they play on the field, and of course, the confidence these teams have gathered. You just be surprised how good Manchester United is in Europa League, and he's shocked how poor they are in the Premier League.
Beating in
Europa League.
Wow!
So far this season, so that's something to account for them. So, but then it's going to be very interesting because both coaches will be desperate for a silverware. Yeah. That's our only opportunity for silverware this season, and the chance to play Champions League next season.
All right. Also picking more on Spotlight, of course, written in a very bold text. UEFA Champions League ticket throws Lukman says I did everything to play, reveals Eagles star. The victory between Atlanta and Roma 2-1, and of course it seals our qualification right there to the UEFA Champions League. Atlanta Lukman doing things right there in the Serie A, and of course Mourinho won to Sancho at Fenerbahce. And also from under line, Manchester City draw up 4-man right back short list. And again, we have old lady denies Osimhen again, and Osimhen definitely, and Napoli says they are not interested in Victor Osimhen anymore. Of course, definitely, it's obvious that he will be leaving Napoli. But a lot of European team. But just, of course, keeping tabs on you have like of United, Chelsea, Arsenal.
Arsenal, they are looking for.
But do you think he could actually leave Gala? Of course, maybe go to any English team.
I think he's going to leave Gala at the end of the season. It's just to know, waiting for the club that will pay the valuation of Napoli. The relationship between Osimhen and Napoli has broken down. No doubt about it. That's why he's playing playing for Galatasaray in that league to get opportunity at the end of the season to go to another. So it depends on the club that can pay his valuation and match the wages of Osimhen. So that's what they'll be waiting. And of course, it will be looking at the teams that's likely maybe that team should be playing in the Champions League. Because that will be one of the considerations that Osimhen will be looking for. I'm going to sign for a team that's playing because that's to give you exposure to the world of football, and of course how the team is performing in their local league. So it's most likely an English team. Some few are saying maybe Juventus in Italy or maybe some other team, but it's most likely an English team, maybe Chelsea or Manchester United or Arsenal. Even if you see lots of Manchester United former players, Ferdinand, all of them are rooting for the club to sign Osimhen. Same for other clubs too. Even Mikel Obi is rooting for Chelsea to sign Osimhen. So definitely. All stakeholders in those clubs that they know that they need a striker, they know it's one of the hottest property as far as striking is concerned in football, and of course they are rooting for him. So, but then he is going to put into consideration who is going to meet my valuation, my wages, and of course the club in Napoli who is going to meet the valuation we are placing on him. So all these things, when it comes together, you get a club at the end of the day to sign and play for.
All right. Before we wrap things up, let's just check some. West Ham enter race to sign Oyedika right there, and of course Chukwueze Coppa Italian glory when it comes to Milan versus Bologna right there, and of course Olaino expected to sign new Forest deal. And also, so sad for Taiwa Awoni, send, of course, Forest send Awoni get well message, and it was very, very hectic. Injury was being carried out.
Yes, so I think he had an abdominal injury or something. I think he went for surgery on Monday, and his surgery was successful, so he needs to rest in the hospital and recuperate before coming back to football fully. All
right, it's time to wrap things up right there on you. Sports Central. Of course, don't forget the semi-final between the Flying Eagles and South Africa. It's going to be a match with an account of course, who are actually tipsing for them to reach the final of this particular competition. Thank you so much, Biodun Ogun. Thanks for having you on the program.
It's a pleasure to be back again on the program.
Definitely, you'll be more. I will actually, need you more on this particular program when it comes to analysts. And don't forget to comment, like, and share to your family and friends. Join us next time on You Sport on You TV. My name remains Steven Ajayi.